Hello, my name is Peregrine, and before the video starts I just want to say thank you for all the love on the last video. It genuinely means the world. That was a lot of likes, that was a lot of comments, and thank you for sticking around, watching a lot, means a lot. But yeah, let's get straight into the video. So for those just tuning in, Overwatch is kind of in a revival era at the moment. People have flocked back to the game suddenly, and the story is restarting after what feels like about 5 years of inactivity in the lore. To be honest, we're starting with kind of a bang. But would you believe me if I told you I already know the next steps of the story? I already know what's going on. Doomfist is alive, and Vendetta will fail. These two things are going to happen, and I'm going to explain why. So, as we all saw in the cinematic, the newcomer Vendetta has seemingly killed Doomfist and taken charge of Talon, who is considered the main antagonist organisation to Overwatch, even as going as far as to cut the gauntlet from his arm. However, anyone worth their salt in the Overwatch community knows that Doomfist is very much still alive, and if anything, will be coming back even stronger. He will take back the reins of Talon from Vendetta after her inevitable failure, creating a more terrifying organisation than ever before, potentially combining Talon with Null sector. Now I know what you're thinking. Doomfist had his arm cut off, he fell out a window and lost all of his assets to the takeover of Talon. How could he possibly come back from this? Firstly, the arm that was cut off was already cybernetic. Losing an arm doesn't really trouble him that much, there was no arm there in the first place. In canon, Doomfist lost his arm during the Omnic Crisis before he even had the gauntlet installed. Secondly, like I said, cybernetic work has been done on Doomfist's body pretty much everywhere, including, his legs and his back. So that fall from a great height may as well not mean anything. His body is no longer that of just a human body. A fall means nothing, really. If he lands right, he'll probably be fine, barely a scratch at that point. And thirdly, if you think the fear of Doomfist comes from the gauntlet, you haven't been paying attention to the lore in the slightest. It was never Doomfist you should be scared of, rather Akande himself. Even with all 4 limbs removed, Akande would still be one of the most feared antagonists in Overwatch, since behind his exterior as a shredded martial artist, he is one of the smartest tactical minds in the world, who was only defeated by Vendetta due to her bold stupidity and lack of plan. Her unpredictability took him down because he expects smart opponents. And I think the most terrifying part about Akande rather than Doomfist is that he might actually be right about everything. Inside his analytical mind, he's not fighting for himself, he fights for a better future in his own fucked up kind of way. For those who don't know, Doomfist's philosophy states that conflict and war creates harsh conditions in which technological and scientific research is accelerated and funded out of necessity. For example, during the first Omnic Crisis, technology in the Overwatch world blossomed to heights never seen before, and the world reached a new level of unity when given an existential threat for all of humanity to work against. Stuff like petty border disputes or country rivalries no longer meant anything, as the human race was facing a threat. You'll find, quite frankly, that an extinction level event will bring any race, any religion together. Thus is the plan of Doomfist. I also hypothesise that Doomfist might be a social Darwinist, similar to Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, holding the belief that peace makes men weak and hard times creates the best of the best. For example, how the war's Talon fought in Haiti created Baptiste and Mauga, 2 incredibly standout individuals who are strong in their own right. To put it simply, Doomfist is intelligent enough to have a contingency for what's happened, and I know exactly where he is. In-universe, Doomfist is currently with Ramattra and Null sector for a temporary, if not a long-lasting alliance. After the invasion story, if you can call it that, it was abundantly clear that Null sector is the strongest military force on Earth and is preparing for a second wave of the Omnic Crisis. However, something is stopping them. It could be Omnium reserves, it could be not having enough of the sentient Omnics with them. There's a million different things it could be, but they are not ready to cause the second wave yet. And Doomfist already has a bond with Ramattra, meeting him in Cairo and promising him that the might of Talon combined with Null sector would be enough for Ramattra to reach his goal. Talon has the money, the operation and the influence to get Null Sector whatever it needs and whatever it wants, while Null Sector creates a war that's so dangerous it causes people to develop at an entirely new rate. These two factions, for a very long time, I'd considered very separate. But after looking at it through this lens, now Doomfist is out of Talon, I'm beginning to see that they have a lot of things and a lot of goals in common. So, why do I know Vendetta is going to fail? Well, the failure of Vendetta is written on the walls. She's a one-note character whose singular interest is avenging her father's death at the hands of Gabriel Reyes. At heart, Vendetta is a spoiled brat rich girl who went apeshit training her body when her father was killed and her inheritance was taken away. To give her the credit she deserves, she did all that gladiator stuff by herself, but bear in mind this comes off the back of a very privileged childhood, and probably already had enough money to live for the rest of her life, and enough notability to get her into the Coliseum in the first place. Alongside that, her fighting style and plans for Talon are purely based in red-hot rage, entitlement, and selfish desires for power, making her a perfect mirror to the intelligent, calculated, selfless goals of Akande. The most obvious demonstration of Vendetta's future failures is her brazen attack of Watchpoint Gibraltar. If Doomfist had the capability to wipe out Overwatch, the only organisation capable of stopping the second wave of the Omnic Crisis, he would have stuck. So, meaning there was obviously a reason he was waiting. Otherwise, like Vendetta says in the cinematic, it genuinely suggests that Doomfist, one of the smartest people in Overwatch's universe, was legitimately sat there doing nothing for no reason. Although she is a hard worker on her body, Vendetta remains nothing but her namesake, a one-note character with a single goal, in which she cannot achieve, since Reyes is no longer with Overwatch or Talon, meaning Vendetta failed before she even started. And I think that's okay. It's not that she's a poorly written character in the same way Iliari is, rather she's a foil or a demonstration of what a lesser villain would be in comparison to Doomfist. Vendetta is a stepping stone for Doomfist to show how scary this character really is. It all makes narrative sense for Vendetta to take over and fail, for Doomfist to come back. It really puts an emphasis on the power of Doomfist, the intelligence of Doomfist, and what he can do as the main antagonist of Overwatch. And I think in the final twist of Cosmic Irony, Vendetta's failures affirm Doomfist's worldview in two different ways. Because the Talon born after Vendetta's reign will be stronger and more dangerous, and the Overwatch that will reform after the attack on Watchpoint Gibraltar will also be stronger, proving that, well, in the end,
only through conflict do we evolve.